please share this with all the people who are precious to your life.
And you'll have to beat me. Are you ready?
I gotta take you out. I'm like, but Dad, this was the last thing you did to the dog.
You can. Shut up, you dope.
Done. Done.
This is Lightning Electric, and I have a guest with me today to do a combination tier list. This is water bottle period Kit Kat. No wait, it's water bottle period Kit period Kat period 08. Is that right?
Yeah, I know. I came up with it for my my Instagram so long ago, and I still use it on a few different things, including my YouTube. So yeah, I'm here, and I'm looking forward to this. I feel like this was a very off the cuff idea, but I'm excited for it.
I feel. Oh yeah, his name is Zach. Also, you've seen him in my other videos.
You wanna fight? You wanna tussle? Woo!
So
Yeah, you'll
be sharing his stuff after.
You love me. You hate me. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he sings a lot. Not really.
I wasn't even saying goodness.
Well, it's.
I was just saying, you know me, you love me, you hate me.
Okay, well, he's an aspiring rapper. Forgive me.
Yeah. Hey, I do make a lot of music content on my channel, so
He does.
yeah. No, I'm excited for this because I made one video game video and people didn't care for it, so I'm like, hey, I'm down to talk about whatever this is.
So, now that that's out of the way, you can see a lovely background. For you experts out there, this is in Pokemon Snap when you're about to select the Rainbow Cloud area, which is where you find the topic of today's video. This is a Mew design tier list, the 151st Pokemon. Also, before you go into this slide, there's a red line under my username, and I don't appreciate that. I should be recognized as somebody who's official, dang it. So, anyway, those of you who've been around my channel for a while know that Pac-Man and Yveltal are kind of the signature characters. I just took some Plush characters and thought I would spice things up by writing scripts between the three of us. Because I kind of order a new plush every Christmas or so. I'm kind of satisfied with what I have now, so I don't really feel the need to do this now. I've gotten one every year except for 2017, because I just didn't feel the need to get one that year. But the one that I got for the year 2020 was Mew. As you can see, it is the same one that I have, very well designed. There's a couple of, well, there's one larger size that I saw somebody win from an arcade in its life size, and I really didn't feel the need to get something that large. The Pokedex entry in yellow says that you can see its fine white hairs under a microscope, and that's kind of what this thing feels like. It's really soft, and I think they did a great job replicating that. Some people may prefer to have the arms detached, but I actually kind of prefer it this way because it fits nicely in your hand. And what I really like about this is the tail in the back. You can kind of just like swing it all over the place, and that kind of surprised me when I got it, so I think it kind of fits its innocent personality to me. This to me goes in the S tier, and that goes for most of the plush merchandise that's associated with, because I'm kind of biased. Next, we go to
Yeah.
Red and Green, the original 1996 Game Boy installment. I love the story that he programmed Mew in at the last second, which I think is kind of weird because you already made Mew 2, yet you somehow got away with creating the first one, which no one knew about. It's like, if Mewtwo is already a concept, right? And you even wrote about it in the Pokemon Mansion, how would it surprise people that you programmed in the original Mew as well? That's what's so weird about it to me. But anyway, I can tell that they kind of rushed this in because because it's literally a skull. Its feet are as outstretched as it could possibly be. And I don't know. It kind of looks like its head is just about to pop off its body, and I don't appreciate the lump that is in between the ears. I don't know, man. I don't know. The only real good part about it to me is the tail. It's going in the I mean tier, which is it's my description of a D tier, combined with the fact that there's not much to say about it.
Can I real quick interject, sir?
Yes?
So I just looked it up. Shigeki Morimoto was the creator of Mew, and he was the one who, just reading off of Wikipedia, which I know some people are going to be like, that's not a trustworthy source, but it's just something, you know, for the sake of just getting the information out there. And if you really want to know more about this, you can, of course, you're more than welcome to look it up yourself. Let's see, it was added to Red and Blue. That's what it says on Wikipedia, Red and Green, whatever, by its creator, Game Freak programmer Shigeki Morimoto as an intended obtainable Pokemon, but due to a lack of cartridge space and inability to write and add additional storyline and plot points to lead up to an in-game encounter with the Pokemon, it was ultimately not published within the game, still viewable within the game's background data, and that sort of leads to how it became an event Pokemon.
Dang. I didn't know that there was going to be a whole story about it in a game that is that outdated. That's interesting to me. And
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I remember reading it was Omori, but your turn.
I was just gonna say I feel like it's not necessarily like, I feel like it's maybe they had ideas for it, I don't know, or maybe it was just more of a thing where they were like, well, I'd like to do it, but I just can't, you know, and they just ran out of time and all that stuff. I don't know, and kind of lost my train of thought. But I did want to say this too, Sean, because I feel like you're gonna beat yourself up about this. But that do you see that Discord.com is sharing your screen and audio thing?
Yes.
Yeah, you can probably hide that, just that it's because it's showing up in the recording probably.
Oh well, that's no big deal. I'm not gonna beat myself up over something that simple.
Yeah, I know. I just figured I feel like it would probably be kind of funny just if it was just sitting there the whole video, because I've just been looking at it. I've been like, oh, I know that just bothers me personally, but I feel like I can be a little OCD at times, but yeah, I just figured I would look that up real quick. Go, please continue. So.
I'm glad you clarified that for me. Is Shigeki the same person they named Gary after in those games? Or is it Miyamoto?
Yeah, Gary's named after Miyamoto, I think, in Japan. Yeah. Shigeru Miyamoto, creator of Mario, Donkey Kong, Star Fox, Pikmin, all that stuff.
And Zelda. Yeah, okay, so it is...
How do I miss Zelda? That's like the biggest one.
What is Okay, Shigeru. Satoshi and Shigeru are Ash and Gary. Okay, right. That does sound right now that you mention it. So now we go to Red and Blue, which is not much better because it's still staring into your soul. It's almost like they took the Red and Green sprite, got rid of the tumor, and they said, hey, the camera's over here. Its arms are... I guess it's okay, but they look kind of weirdly stubby to me, and the coloring is off, which is fine given the limited technology, but it's like, seeing random lines in pink in it is really strange to me.
It looks kind of menacing, honestly, the way it's just standing there staring at you. And
especially given how you encountered on the Nugget Bridge, like seeing it come up out of nowhere and be like, hey, were you expecting this? Because the developers sure weren't.
It's just this like whole naked body just staring at you. It's kind of weird.
It certainly is. It's going in the I mean tier, but don't worry, because things get better. Sort of. With the yellow sprite. this is the best way I could find to bring it up. Depending on the resources that you look at, it gets really strange. Like, a lot of the Pokemon in Yellow were literally colored yellow for no particular reason. Like, I remember Aerodactyl, this weird yellow shade. Granted, they look a lot more like they do in the anime, which makes sense because this is literally like the second makeover of the same game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like there's kind of some weird red splotches in it as well, like with the neck, and sometimes it looks like blood, which is weird to me. That being said, I like the way that it's waving here. I don't see it doing that in any other sprite that I've found, and kind of putting its tail to the side, it gives it its own personality. You can tell it's still an early sprite, not quite as innocent looking as it is in the later generations, but overall I put it in B because it's very unique to me.
Yeah, it resembles its future self a lot more. It looks more like how it should, for sure. Just like specifically the feet are like what's catching my eyes, and I don't mean that in a weird way. Just like, I don't know, like I feel like if the feet were drawn better, you just wouldn't have seen like those little spots on the feet and the red and green, or even the red and blue sprites. But here there's the little spots and you can see fingers on the hands. It just looks a lot better. I don't know.
Certainly. Next we get Generation 2. This is amazing in comparison to the previous sprites, okay? I really like the way that it's kind of looking up at the player. I don't know what it is about that and the head shape, but it's kind of like it's waiting to be petted. That, combined with the fact that one of its feet is lifted, gives it a very unique appearance to me.
It feels a lot more playful, almost.
Yeah.
I get a very playful energy from this sprite.
Still kind of odd, like the head looks like a bit like the earlier stages to me, but you can see that they're kind of adding in the saturation of the light pink near the outer area of its body. So it could be a little better, but it's great in comparison, and it still gives me that Gen 2 nostalgia, which sounds like bias, but it does kind of stand out in that way as well. So that... I thought for some reason I had this in A, but apparently I didn't. I think it's because the next one... Yes, that's just checking. Yeah, it's an A. What's so cool to me about Silver, that Crystal takes the gold sprite and animates it. Meanwhile, Silver has its own sprite. That's something that's never been replicated in any of the future versions. Not that at this point in time that would matter anyway, since everything's become animated. This to me looks like they took the official artwork. Yeah, the way that its hands are kind of stretched out makes it look like it's more ready to use psychic powers, and it kind of has this determined look in its face. I just really like the stance overall.
I don't really have too much to add on this one, but I just, yeah, it looks really into it. Like, it looks ready to strike, you know, almost.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like a perfect combination of everything. And with Crystal, I just love the expression. I'm gonna start out by saying that. I basically looked for a pause in the animation. Now granted, the problem with Crystal was for Emerald and the Generation 4 games as well, is that you only get to see this moments after they come out of their Pokeball.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it gives it the trademark laughing look that some people associate it with in the first movie. And I can't help but appreciate that nod. So...
The mischievous look to it.
Definitely. I would say that minus the fact that you only see it for a couple seconds. It's great, it's iconic, but I can only put it in A. This is kind of interesting to me. Most of the Generation 3 games except Emerald are where it shows up like this. They kind of took the tail and hit it a little strange to me, but it's still combining sort of the game and the anime appearances to me. It's a very salmon shade to me. And instead of looking directly at the player, like it did back in the day, it's just sort of giving it a side glance. Which to me emphasizes that now that there were 3 generations, it's kind of more shrouded in mystery / forgotten about until they brought it back in a future event. So it's not really one of the most iconic to me. Still kind of stands out though. I'm putting this one in B.
So I just decided to record this little edit in my basement because it just occurred to me a day later that I'm an idiot with this discovery I found. Here's the thing. Turns out that FireRed and LeafGreen actually does have a slightly different sprite from Ruby and Sapphire. It's lighter, and the tail is a lot bigger, and placed farther away from it. Now, the reason I like this one a lot more is because you can actually see Mew in its entirety. It allows the sprite overall to be presented a lot better, makes it look more sleek, mystical, and curious. This one goes up in A tier for me because I feel like it fixed the design as a whole. I think with the introduction of the Game Boy Advance era, a lot of the older sprites were kind of left behind, not polished very much. And I might have just missed this because Emerald has the same pose as well, with the tail being more of a medium size, and you'll see what I mean. I sound like I'm sneaking into a bank or something right now, and I have no idea why.
And then we get to Emerald. I feel like some people would really like this because it looks like it's asleep / preserving psychic energy. That's a special characteristic to it that I think stands out. On the other hand, I can't help but think of a cat fetus when I look at it, because that's what some people say its appearance looks like. And that's really strange to me. That plus the fact that it's like cradling when it first shows up. I literally picture like a dangling cat fetus. So it's, at first I had it in a lower tier just because of that kind of strange factor to me, but then I realized I was being a little too hard on it. I would say that they did a decent job. This one goes in B to me.
At the same time, though, just to strike a counter argument there, I feel like that's almost part of it, though, is that Mew is the first Pokemon, and it's a very basic life form. So I almost like the idea of it cradling, because the cradling idea, it's almost like a baby too. At the same time, I mean, it's a little weird that it's like, you know, a cat fetus or something like that, but at the same time, I think it does work with specifically Mew. Like if it was a different Pokemon that could levitate, I feel like it'd be kind of weird. But I like it for Mew just because I don't know. I think just the type of Pokemon it is and what we know about it, it makes sense, at least in my mind. I feel like I really like this one a lot. I just like the idea of it seeming in a very calm state as it's just resting, almost relaxing, you know.
Chillin', maxin', relaxin', all cool.
I can't even think of what you're referencing. I hate that.
Is it?
What are you referencing?
Oh god, is it?
Oh my gosh, I know what it is. I'm not even gonna say it, but I know exactly what it is.
I was going to say Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. What is it actually?
It's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I just said the line shooting some b-ball, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
Anyway,
okay.
you raised some excellent points. You did a better job explaining this than I ever could, actually.
Thank you.
Especially because they were giving it out as an event. I feel like that kind of serves as a reminder for them to bring it back into a character. The fact that you're literally going to an island with an odd sea map, and it's so out there that the person you show the ticket to is like, dude, what is this? We don't know where we're going. And even the signpost outside where you encounter Mew and Emerald, it's like the letters are faded away. That's how ancient and like protective this forest that you encountered in is.
Yeah, I think Generation 3 had some really cool event ideas, and just I like that, you know. I like how there was some lore to it, you know, about we're gonna bring you to this island and such, and I don't know, it worked really well for Mew, I think, and they did that for Lugia and Ho-Oh, and I don't think they actually did an event for Celebi, did they?
They did. It might have been a giveaway, but they did one for Deoxys.
Yeah, because I know that Celebi, I think the only way to obtain it in Gen 3 might have been through the Coliseum bonus disc, which didn't even come in the US.
Yeah.
So, oh well. We're used to it. I mean, it took the US however many years to really get Celebi, you know? So.
For sure. I do like that you're able to get it in the Crystal Virtual Console. You can get
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, and that was a really nice way of just restoring that event.
God, what else? Oh yeah, it's weird to me that this is the only time that they made an event exclusive to Emerald. All the others are also available in FireRed and LeafGreen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even Deoxys.
Wait, Lugia and Ho-Oh are?
Yep.
They're in FireRed and LeafGreen?
Yep, because Naval Rock, where you find them, has like the water labyrinth music from the Sevi Islands.
Oh. Interesting. That's really weird. Okay.
Yeah. Water Labyrinth, by the way, is a remix of Lake of Rage, but also Mew's battle theme in Emerald. The legendary bird theme, right, is the wild encounter theme from FireRed and LeafGreen. Up a half step. Mew's battle theme is up another half step.
Huh.
And at that point, it just kind of sounds a little screechy near the higher notes, but it's all right to me.
Yeah.
So then we go into this. I don't know how I feel about this. The eye. Why is it a semicircle?
It looks like it has a snout.
Oh my god. Okay, I didn't notice that, but now I can't get it out of my head.
That's kind of ugly in like a whole different way from like red and green. Oh, that's unappealing.
Sinnoh, what are you doing? It looks like it's creeping up on Celebi like,
Hey, you wanna go for a date? We can go to Starbucks. What do you like on your coffee, Celebi? I'll get it for you. I'll pay for everything. You wanna go see a movie?
and then the tail is actually kind of cool to me, but it's got like a weird fish hook shape. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the tail is actually like, if anything, the best part about this.
Yeah, it's got to go in C tier. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not entirely pleasant. On the other hand, I love this. It's almost like they took the silver stance, right? They made it look at the camera in a cool way, like it's ready for battle, yet it has a very friendly look on its face. The eyes and the roundness of the head to me are perfection, especially with the way that its arms are stretched out casually. It's like they kind of showed off as much of its body as possible while focusing on what people like about it. I don't know why it's so much better than Sinnoh, but they really did it well. I personally put it in A tier. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, I don't really have too much to add. I think it's a good design.
Certainly. Now, you may find this weird, but I actually really like that Black and White took the Diamond and Pearl sprite and animated it consistently enough that it looks appealing again. You can't really see it here, but it's kind of in a cool action pose, and the head just kind of rocks back and forth while the tail flips up and down. It definitely gets into the action pose, given that we never quite looked at sprites the same way again after Generation 5 happened. So it's just kind of like they went all out with everything and its personality. This to me is the most action-ready sprites I think I've seen, and I really appreciate that about it. This is something that goes in A tier. You're gonna see some S tier stuff later on, but that's the stuff that's really iconic. Next, Oh, good lord.
You just so honest about. Oh my god, I'm building up a belch, and you
Can't
deliver.
digest. I think I ate too many
Ugh.
chips.
Dorito chips.
No, tortilla chips. I'm not that
Oh.
thick of a gamer.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So, what do we have after this? Yeah, the 3DS model. Just, you know what they did, right? Is they took the Switch model, which looks beautiful. You have seen video of people playing like Sun and Moon, for instance, with it is turned off, and it pretty much looks like how everything would on the Switch, which is to say, really nice. This, on the other hand, combined with the fact that it doesn't have quite as much expression as it does in Generation 5, looks really gritty on the outlines, and it looks a little bit better on the 3DS. But
Yeah.
you can tell that it's not quite what it should be. This goes in C to me.
Yeah, I think it's just the way that they brought the models to life. Just sure, it's cool to see the Pokemon running on the handheld screen, but at the same time, I know they did miss a lot of that expression that comes with the sprites, you know, because the thing with the models is that it tends to just show them in a consistent idle pose almost. And meanwhile, the sprites you have more freedom almost in a way, because you can just in terms of how Pokemon has run it specifically, because you know, a 3D model, I feel like it wouldn't be hard to necessarily make it keep moving and such in the animation, but
it kind of does. It like it has that same body pose, but it kind of like has its tail circling around it while it's loading in a pattern.
Yeah, I guess like, and I apologize too, because you know, at some point in time, I haven't been able to keep up with Pokemon in the same way. You know, I'd say around Gen 5. Gen 5 is like the last one I can really name all the Pokemon, and I didn't even really play Gen 5 that much. But I feel like the sprites can be more interesting, because if you're just drawing one specific pose, then you can say a lot with that pose. But if you have to make it be something that keeps moving, it can be hard to sometimes get that to keep that expression and such. It's hard to keep that moving and consistent. So I guess that's my impression of the 3D models, is it just can be too stagnant at times, and they didn't really get enough expression with it. And of course you can say too about the way that they brought the models to the 3DS does look weird too, of course, but they could have certainly done it differently and it might have looked better. But
it had to have been really hard to animate all 649 previously existing Pokemon that were existing. So there's always that, and the fact that they were trying to foolproof the sprites by having them available for the next 2 generations, but we kind of all know what happened with that. I don't think they were expecting to have to cut the Pokedex down in Sword and Shield. That plus the general limited development time that they had. With that being said, there is some stuff to appreciate with some of the 3D models from Generation 6 through 8, and it's been shown in Smash, as well as another model we're going to be getting to later, that there are some ways you can focus on design. Or not design, but just like expression and character overall.
Yeah, I think I'm losing my train of thought. I feel like the models themselves aren't actually that bad, you know. I think it's more so bringing them to life that has been the issue for Game Freak, because I know I hear people talk about how they're not happy with the move animations and such. But meanwhile, the models themselves are actually good models, you know.
Yeah,
They hit the design out of the park, and Mew looks like the actual character model looks really great.
well,
It's just a matter of getting the character of Mew in too. See, and that looks great too. That looks really nice.
yeah. I kind of wanted to transition to that in the middle of you talking so that I could really show the full effect of what you're saying.
Yeah. It's just a nice model. It looks really clean. You know, you can even see like the fingers. You can see Mew's fingers. And it's very, I don't know, it works for me, but at the same time it's just a matter of bringing them to life that has had some people, I think, feeling one way or the other about them.
I think what the deal is that they're trying. The models that they made are models that you can do as much as possible with. So in that sense, it's very successful.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
But this is like, it really is the full realization of what was on the 3DS. It's what we were supposed to see on the 3DS had it been a more powerful console. They perfected the colors on this model to me. It's a combination of the whiter skin that it had in the old days with the pinker feel that it has more nowadays, yet it still has its own color to me. There's that, and there's the fact that as a Pokemon in general, Mew is very expressive, be if you're interacting with it in Let's Go, and there's also the fact that you can interact with it in Sword and Shield, where you'll see a lot more expressions from it there, like its eyes will change shape and stuff, and for some reason, I learned this a very roundabout way, but it has the second biggest appetite out of any Pokemon in the game. I don't know why, but for some reason you can feed it the second highest amount of curry out of all the Pokemon in one sitting. I'm assuming the first is Snorlax, but I actually really like that detail because it gives it this ravenous childlike attitude that I wasn't even expecting.
Yeah, that is a cool detail. I do like that. It's almost like it's growing. It's in the process of growing, and it needs to eat to grow and become a strong, healthy Mew and whatever Pokemon it becomes. You know.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. The only reason that it's in A instead of S is because it's just missing that little bit of flair, given that it was carried over from the 3DS when they were figuring things out. That being said, I'm not sure people appreciate this version of Mew as much as they could.